Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Warren Call, President and CEO of Traverse Connect, and I want to welcome you to the 2020 Traverse Connect Mid-Year Update. Yes, it's hard to believe we are 6 months into 2020, but remember that's equivalent to approximately 6 years in COVID time. January certainly feels like years ago to me. The purpose of this annual event is to update you, our investors, on the programs designed to support you, your businesses, your growth plans, your workforce needs, and your company's overall success, as well as our region's key economic priorities. We're going to touch on the year-to-date progress of these programs, and then hear from two very impressive presenters from 20 Fathoms and HealthSpark. We'll then wrap it up with a Q&A session at the end. But anytime during the presentation, you can type your questions into the comment section of YouTube. You must be logged into your Google account or YouTube account in order to submit questions. To kick us off, I'd like to first welcome to the screen Chris McInnes of Crystal Mountain, the co-chair of the Traverse Connect Board of Directors. Chris is going to say a few words. Chris, welcome.
Thanks so much, Warren. And I'd like to just, again, extend a welcome on behalf of our co-chair, Beth Holmes-Bozung. We are just so delighted that you're joining us this morning. We also thank you so much for your support of Traverse Connect. This makes possible the good work of this organization. I think many of us see day in and day out that Traverse Connect is proving that it is a valued partner and resource, helping us navigate, oh my goodness, what an unprecedented disruption, and at the same time, creating value for the future. I'm going to say the power of and. Here are a couple of examples of the leadership that we're seeing. Leading our private sector COVID-19 response, leading advocacy for the safe restart of Regions 6 and 8, ahead of the rest of the state. As one in the tourism business, I can't tell you how much we appreciated this. Leading a campaign to attract talent to fuel our regional economic resilience. Leading initiatives to increase local business access to capital, including the new Regional Resiliency Fund. And we're excited to talk about that, right, Laura? Leadership in these complex and important areas takes talent, passion, and dedication. That's what defines our current Traverse Connect team. People who are working hard, smart, and in partnership to be a catalyst for the economic growth in our region. Again, I think many of you agree. I hope all of you agree. We've got the right people in the right place at the right time. Warren, thank you so much for your introduction and for leading such a great team, all your good work. We're really glad that you're now out of the basement. And now on with the update. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris, and thanks to the great leadership from the entire Traverse Connect Board of Directors, the Venture North Board of Directors, and all of you that are involved in our programs, our committees, and our various events. Of course, none of this would be possible without the generous support of our great sponsors, Consumers Energy and ITC Holdings. We now have a sponsor video from Consumers Energy.
Hi, I'm Roger Curtis, Vice President of Public Affairs here at Consumers Energy, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. As much as I wish it could be in person, we will do our best with video. We're committed to helping Michigan's small businesses, nonprofits, and communities prosper in energy and beyond now more than ever. Most important of all, and I can't stress this enough, if you're having difficulties, please call us. We can work with you to customize your energy bill. If you reach out, we will work with you on personalized payment plans and other solutions to help you bridge this gap. Beyond assistance with your bill, we can also help connect you to available state and federal resources. Consumers Energy is also active in supporting small businesses right here in the Traverse Bay region. Our foundation recently gave $200,000 to the Venture North Traverse Connect Regional Resiliency Fund. This fund offers grants of up to $5,000 to small businesses in Benzie, Leelanau, and Grand Traverse counties that employ 9 or fewer people and have not received COVID-19 related grants from other sources since March. We've given $3.5 million to nonprofits across the state of Michigan to address the crisis, including several right here in northern Michigan that I'd like to highlight. We gave a $100,000 grant to Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency to expand food programs during the crisis. We gave a $10,000 grant to Groundwork Center for Resilient Communities for food relief, and $10,000 grant to Grand Traverse Regional Community Foundations for its Urgent Needs Fund. The team at Traverse Connect is working very hard for you. We ask that you continue to work with them for the latest on federal and state stimulus programs and to advocate for more resources. COVID-19's impacts are unprecedented, and we want to help you get through it. I can't stress this enough. Please do not wait to contact us. Call us by phone at our business center at 800-805-0490. Again, that's 800-805-0490. Call us to discuss customized energy payment plans and other consumers' energy offerings. You can also visit us online at consumersenergy.com/business. That link takes you directly to our Small Business Survival Toolkit, which is really cool. It offers utility, state, and federal assistance for you and your small business or nonprofit. You know, even during these unprecedented times, Consumers Energy is still committed to building a clean energy future for Michigan. As we begin, and I hate to call it the new normal, it's the interim normal. We will have normal back. So during this interim normal, I ask that you consider participating in programs designed to save you energy and money. Energy efficiency rebates, customized programs can reduce your energy use and lower your bill. We also have demand response programs tailored for your business that reward you for using energy at the right times. You can find out more information about those at our website as well as the 800 number. What I hope you take away today is that Consumers Energy is here to help you navigate these uncertain times. As Michigan reopens, we look forward to safely seeing you in the community. To be safe, Consumers Energy will continue to follow guidelines recommended by the CDC, including social distancing and wearing masks. Please stay safe and healthy for yourselves, your families, and your customers. We look forward to continuing to do great things together and to help ensure your success. Thank you for watching and stay safe.
Thanks, Roger, and thanks to consumers for the great support you've provided our community throughout this crisis and going forward. Now a pair of videos from our other sponsor, ITC Holdings.
Smartphones, tablets, connected homes, electric vehicles. These technologies are changing the way we use and think about electricity. You may not realize it, but in our increasingly electrified society, that's where transmission infrastructure matters most. Connecting consumers to energy resources is what we do, but those energy resources are changing. Coal plants are closing across our country and are being replaced with generation sources like solar, natural gas, and wind. But what happens when the wind doesn't blow or the sun doesn't shine? How do we maintain safe, secure, reliable energy delivery to withstand weather events and power modern society when even a momentary outage can cost millions? How do we harness renewable energy and move it from remote locations where it's most abundant to the cities and towns where it's needed? What is the best way to effectively store these intermittent resources, and what impact do they have on the greater grid? Our system planners are looking at future scenarios every day, preparing for a range of possibilities as we continue towards a cleaner, greener energy future. We innovate for the benefit of our customers and theirs, for people who flip the switch to turn on the lights, for business owners who can't operate without power, for rural America where local connections matter, for critical research, data, medical and manufacturing centers that require constant reliability. We are ensuring the greater grid can meet their energy needs now and long into the future.
Hello everyone, I'm Simon Whitelock, President of ITC Michigan. It's great to be with you here today. Thanks so much to Warren Call and the rest of the team at Traverse Connect for inviting me to be here and for hosting this great event. ITC is a transmission-only electric company. Our job is to move power from where it's generated to where it's consumed. We're located in 7 states, including most of the Lower Peninsula here in Michigan, and we're in many, many communities throughout our footprint. Our job is to make sure that our customers, the local utilities, can keep the lights on for their customers and the 10 million residents of this state. Of course, how we do business and go about our daily lives has changed a little bit over the last few months, including social distancing and attending virtual events like this one, but ITC has remained committed to providing safe and reliable electricity throughout this time. I'm really proud of the team at ITC for doing so, and also for giving back to the communities that we serve. Since ITC's formation in 2003, we have invested billions of dollars in ensuring that the transmission system is reliable and capable of connecting new generation sources. Since that time, I'm proud to say that we now have one of the best transmission systems in the country, right here in Michigan. And of course, we know that having reliable infrastructure is really important when it comes to attracting new businesses to the state and allowing those businesses to continue to grow once they locate here. We also know that to drive economic development, you need to have a strong connection between the businesses and the communities. And it's organizations such as this one that provide a collaborative space for all of us to work together. Thank you all for collaborating with us, and thank you for making us a part of your community.
Thank you, Simon, and thanks to ITC for your continued support. Thanks again to our sponsors. We greatly appreciate everything they do to allow us to promote and provide these events. Something new for this event today, we have a little competition, a sponsor engagement game. Consumers and ITC have come up with a few questions that you can answer by visiting their websites. These questions will be asked in the comment section during the presentation and on our social media pages for the next 24 hours. So take a look and go to their websites. If you think you know the right answers, please email them to Molly McGurr on our team. Her email can also be found in the comment section. You'll be entered in for a chance to win a $50 gift certificate to downtown Traverse City. Winners will be announced and notified on Friday and mailed their gift certificates. So please participate. It's now my pleasure to kick off the team update section of the agenda. And I'm going to start with a recap of our key improvements over the past several months. The overarching goal here is joint value creation. All of what we are doing is geared toward improving our services and our support for your companies and your organizations. After finalizing and implementing our new strategic plan last fall that included a new mission to focus on growing family-sustaining careers and a new vision of quality community and career opportunities to match our quality of life here in Northern Michigan, we turned late last fall and over the course of the new year to restructuring and a merger of Traverse Connect and the Chamber of Commerce. These two organizations were put together. The new Traverse Connect, with a new board of directors, new staff, new funding, and new organization, is more efficient and more effective. It's built for your needs. And it's an organization built around new focused priorities. Priorities for business expansion, helping you to grow. Priorities for talent initiatives to get you the talent and workforce that you need. And regional leadership to make sure that the Grand Traverse region has a priority at the state and national level. Let me first now touch on our key business expansion accomplishment in the first half of the year. The hallmark of this effort are Scale Up North Awards. The Scale Up North Awards are designed to highlight our scaling and emerging businesses with a focus specifically on growth of tech, trade, and creative industries here in our local region. We have two objectives with the Scale Up North Awards. Number one, it's to strengthen the companies that are involved in this process. The contestant companies, the candidate companies, those scaling companies and growing companies are the engines of job growth. They are the companies that are going to allow us to drive career growth in this region. So we want to do everything we can to help them along with that process. The second objective is to promote these companies and promote our region. We need to tell the story of our dynamic companies and our diversity, our dynamic economy here that is multifaceted with manufacturing, technology, and many other creative industries. Now, obviously, with COVID happening, we had to pivot a little bit midstream. But there was a silver lining to the fact that the Sun programs had to be moved to virtual. And that is that over the course of those programs, we had nearly 4,000 total views of the Sun program recordings. That led to more state-level press, and again, more ability for us to promote the many great companies here doing many great things. We look forward to a future built out of the Scale Up North programs and appreciate your support and involvement. Next, let me briefly highlight some of our exciting talent initiatives. Our goal with talent initiatives is to develop and attract a talented workforce. That's the fuel to keep your businesses going and our economy going into the future. We hosted 2 economic strategy series events earlier this year. The first economic strategy series, hosted in February, we heard from Jill Meyer, the president of the Cincinnati Regional Chamber of Commerce. Jill touched on the new reality of economic development. It used to be that we focused on moving a company to create jobs. Now we realize that in the new economy, jobs follow a talented workforce. So we need to focus on becoming a more welcoming community, a community that values diversity, a community that values inclusion, a community that is more intentional about collaboration across the private sector, public sector, and the nonprofits. We need to be a career and lifestyle destination in order to grow our economy. In the second installment of the Economic Strategy Series, we heard from Laura Ferrer and Aaron Belsley, national leaders in remote worker programs. Attracting workers, remote workers, freelance workers, and those in the creative industries are critical to diversify our economy and rebuild a more resilient regional economy as we come out of the COVID crisis. We heard about the ways that we can harness this future of work to bring remote workers, their salaries, their spending, and their creative ideas here to our local economy in ways that help our existing local employers to build out their workforce, their customer base, and their suppliers, but also as an opportunity for our region as a whole to attract more working age people and fulfill our goal of growing our family sustaining careers and grow our working age population. Now, finally, let me touch on our regional leadership responsibilities, something we take very seriously here at Traverse Connect. With these responsibilities, our goal is to drive collaboration on a unified regional strategy for economic and community development across the Grand Traverse region. Important to note, and you've heard me say this before, we view this as servant leadership. We fulfill this role by supporting you, our businesses and key employers, and by engaging with all of our partners across the community. Obviously, so far this year, we've implemented these programs in a little bit different way than what we expected. The first of those is obviously the big pivot. We rebuilt Traverse Connect. We restructured it. We merged. We built out new staff. We had new funding. We were ready to go on our priorities. And then we encountered an entirely different environment than what we expected. Now, while that environment was different, what I think is important to note is that our goals did not change. We were still focused on business expansion and talent development and regional leadership, just in a different environment. So a couple of highlights here. As Chris mentioned, we joined the Joint Operations Center, a community-wide collaborative designed to provide you, our businesses, and our community with clear communications, clear fact-based evidence so that you knew what was going on here locally as we confronted the COVID crisis. We also worked through coordination across community partners to make sure that we were addressing the immediate needs of the crisis. And also to work together to provide resources for the community, resources for businesses, and resources for every organization across the community. And importantly, we did that for not just our member businesses, we did that for every business every public agency, every nonprofit, and every economic development partner across Northern Michigan. The final thing I'll touch on was our involvement in the the Emergency Operations Center and leading the private sector long-term recovery planning. Because really, as we come out of this crisis, we're looking at the way forward. We're focused on economic resiliency, building our economy and our community better, building it back better than it was before. That's really what we mean by economic resiliency. Our region's recovery and our future depend upon resiliency, helping our businesses to get through the current challenges, workforce challenges, cash flow challenges, regulatory challenges, and then focus on promoting the region as a year-round economic destination to grow into the future, a future that I believe is very, very bright. So there's much more to come in the second half of 2020, but I'll pause there. Thank you once again for the opportunity to work on behalf of your organizations. It's an honor to support you this year amidst the crisis and going forward. I'd like to now bring to the screen Laura Galbraith with Venture North.
Thanks, Warren. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura Galbraith. I'm the Executive Director of Venture North. Venture North is a community development financial institution that focuses on making capital available to small businesses. Over time, Venture North has assisted 112 companies, deploying over $6 million in loans throughout the 10-county region. The COVID-19 pandemic required us to pivot, and as Warren said, the big pivot. We needed to quickly consult with our loan portfolio and other area small businesses on new emergency funds and resources that were available. We created our own loan emergency fund for our existing clients to receive a bridge loan as they awaited their emergency capital from the SBA and the MEDC. It was a quick approval process with a low interest loan, deferred payments, and no closing fees. Our number one priority was to help small businesses stay open during these extraordinary times. We quickly identified an issue. The pandemic hit very small businesses very hard. Many did not receive stimulus funding. There was no safety net. Therefore, the concept of the Regional Resiliency Fund was born. The purpose of the Regional Resiliency Fund is to provide lifelong grants to small businesses so we can encourage and support business resilience through these challenging times. Next slide, Molly. In Michigan, there are 873,000 small businesses, supporting 2 million employees, which is 50% of the state's workforce. Firms with fewer than 20 employees are the fastest growing business segment, generating over 31,000 new jobs annually since 2016. In our 3-county area, there are 8,000 small businesses. These are really small businesses with 9 or fewer full-time employees in Leelanau, Benzie, and Grand Traverse counties. Therefore, we chose to pilot the Regional Resiliency Fund in these 3 communities. Next slide, Molly. So we needed to, through our due diligence, we needed to find a strategic partner. And as Roger Curtis had mentioned in his video, Consumers Energy Foundation provided $1.8 million to 9 community and economic development organizations across the state. And fortunately, Venture North and Traverse Connect were awarded $200,000 of those dollars. Venture North is the fiduciary for the Regional Resiliency Fund. It's consistent with its mission to provide capital to support regional Northwest Michigan small businesses. Traverse Connect is the regional economic development partner that is the professional staff to help administer the program. Wherever we work, we count on community leaders to help us identify where and how our funds can be best put to use, and there's no difference here. We created a 3-county ad hoc advisory team to help us with fundraising, outreach, reviewing and scoring the applications, and providing additional resources. These leaders provided valuable insight into the respective communities' challenges and needs. Next slide. As I stated earlier, the objective of the fund is to preserve small businesses, the heart and soul of our rural communities. The eligibility for the Regional Resiliency Fund is businesses need to operate in Benzie, Grand Traverse, or Leelanau counties. They need to be small businesses that employ 9 or fewer full-time employees. They're businesses that have been impacted by COVID. They need capital to open or to operate safely, and they have not received any COVID-19 related grants from other sources. Next slide. For the first round, we received an overwhelming response. 262 applications with over $1 million in need. The data received from the grant applications was really surprising. 68% claimed that they have fewer than 3 full-time equivalents. 77% were mandated to close due to the executive order. 63% are open year-round, and 35% were companies that were in business for over 10 years. The most surprising statistic that was brought to our attention is that 43% did not receive emergency aid. Next slide. This week, we will be issuing the first round of grants. $200,000 to 70 small businesses. We're distributing $50,000 to Benzie and Leelanau counties and $100,000 to Grand Traverse County businesses. The grant review teams were careful to assure there was diversity in the grant recipients. There were businesses selected from various industries, geographic locations, employee size, and length of time in business. All of the grant awardees proved that they were negatively impacted by the pandemic and were able to successfully pivot to be sustainable and operate safely. If you go to Traverse Connect's website and click on our region, you can see a list of this first round of awardees. Next slide. So the $1 million of applications that we received eclipsed the initial $200,000 balance of the fund. So our goal is to grow the fund to $500,000. We are actively fundraising and can accept donations online. And again, go to Traverse Connect's website for more information. We are going to continue to communicate additional resources. We are so fortunate to have Traverse Connect's team sharing these resources via their online resource directory. We also have a team that's dedicated to communicate to those small businesses the availability of the payroll protection program. And we plan to connect these small businesses with banks that are still taking the PPP applications. And I have to say that we are also going to be working with our friends at SCORE and SBDC to assist these businesses with new business strategies, such as online sales and managing cash flow. We have announcements coming soon on new funding sources secured, and we'll be planning a round 2. Applications will be available in July of 2020. So thank you for letting me give you a brief update on what Venture North has been up to so far within the past 6 months of 2020. And I'd now like to introduce Ila with the Government Relations update. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. My name is Kirsty Seeloff, and I'm the Director of Government Relations for Traverse Connect and the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance. The Alliance is a coalition of 16 chambers and economic development organizations from the Northern Lower Peninsula and UP, including partner member Traverse Connect. I started with Traverse Connect and the Alliance on February 10th after having spent time working in the legislature and for former Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley. I represent our organizations in the state and federal affairs, advocating for rural-centric business policies. Today, I want to talk about our rural cabinet position advocacy, COVID-19 engagement, and how we're working to take the Alliance to the next level, and briefly touch on some current events. So first, to talk about the rural cabinet position. So back in January, the Alliance visited Lansing during their State of the State visit and launched a rural cabinet position media event announcing our rural cabinet position, which focuses, excuse me, I just misplaced my slide. So the Alliance launched our rural cabinet position initiative in Lansing during our State of the State visit. The rural cabinet position is working to elevate Northern Michigan issues at the state level and bring attention to issues that are important to Northern Michigan. Our coalition has nearly 100 different advocacy organizations, and we are working to make sure that Northern Michigan gets the attention that it deserves. So we'll be keeping you up to date on this initiative as it moves forward. Next slide. Moving on to COVID engagement, early on, Traverse Connect and the Alliance adopted a position statement on recovery to guide our engagement that includes additional funding sources to provide businesses with the necessary liquidity, clear guidelines for state safe operating practices, comprehensive COVID-19 testing and screening to identify and prevent future outbreaks, and broadening of talent attraction and development programs to help diversify and build our economy in new areas. We've helped chambers and business communities navigate our over 100 executive orders. We've put on numerous webinars, including a webinar open to all businesses on the CARES Act, presented by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, a webinar with Chief Justice Bridget McCormick on Michigan's judiciary after COVID-19, a webinar on unemployment with leaders from the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, and we hosted a collaborative discussion on housing after COVID-19 with stakeholders from Northern and Southeast Michigan. The Alliance co-hosted with Traverse Connect industry forums to support businesses in preparing for reopening. The forums offered businesses the opportunity to talk with subject matter experts within various industries, including retail, grocery retail, manufacturing with guest John Walsh, President and CEO of the Michigan Manufacturers Association, construction, restaurants with Justin Winslow, President and CEO of the Michigan Restaurants and Lodging Association, and HR. We've engaged in advocacy on federal funding, reopening, providing recommendations to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission, and more. We advocated for a safe reopening of Northern Michigan, which resulted in the Alliance Chair, Stacy Beitwerk, joining the governor on stage and announcing the first phase of reopening for Regions 6 and 8. We have worked to provide access to decision makers, like having over a dozen state and federal legislators and officials and their representatives join our Alliance meeting, or a visit from Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist. We continue to talk with our businesses, just like soliciting feedback for the former Senate Safe Behavior for Safe Workplaces Task Force or Regional Reopening Plan, and work to support businesses to advocate at the state and federal levels. We're also taking a moment to work on the structure of the Alliance, including addressing membership, decision-making, and operating procedures. These are necessary actions in order to grow the Alliance and solicit additional Northern Michigan members. We'll be going through a strategic planning process in December to ensure that the mission, vision, and 4 pillars still represent what our members are looking to achieve. We also want to address our online presence. We recently got on Facebook, and we're looking to revamp our website in order to tell people about our work. Lastly, we'll soon begin preparing for the next legislative session starting in January, so we can have an organized and intentional engagement in state and legislative issues. In closing, I'd like to briefly cover some current events in Lansing. We continue to see the governor roll back limitations in Michigan in accordance to her My Safe Start plan. She had hoped to move the entire state to phase 5 this week, but she's concerned about a spike and needs more data. The governor announced that Michigan schools may resume in-person learning in phase 4 of the My Safe Start plan. And yesterday, the GOP legislature announced their Return to Learn plan that proposes the use of $1.3 billion in federal funds and increased flexibility for schools to resume learning. We also saw a fiscal year 20 appropriations bill delivering $880.1 million in federal funds. That's Senate Bill 690, and that was just sent to the governor. This bill includes $100 million in small business restart grants, nearly $30 million to hire 500 additional employees within the Unemployment Insurance Agency, $200 million for local communities across our state, and more. As we all know, there's a multi-billion-dollar budget hole in this fiscal year and next fiscal year. It appears that the legislature has decided to delay their July 1st statutory date for budget completion. And it looks like we're waiting for the feds and stimulus funding to complete both this fiscal year 20 and next fiscal year budget. We'll have a second consensus revenue estimating conference in August, and this follows the May consensus revenue estimating conference that we had. So we'll know more about tax revenue coming in with filing deadlines having been delayed. We're also watching bills related to COVID-19. One of those bills is social districts to allow locals to establish districts where patrons can consume alcohol to help support our bars and restaurants in generating business and also socially distancing patrons. And then there's also liquor to go, again, to support bars and restaurants in generating revenue. So when someone orders food, they can also pick up a cocktail to go. We want to make sure that we're supporting solutions that will benefit Northern Michigan businesses and help aid in our recovery process. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and hand it over to Catherine DeGood.
Thank you, Kirsty. Good morning. My name is Catherine DeGood, and I am the Director of Marketing and Communications for Traverse Connect. I joined the organization last fall as we were finalizing the merger of Traverse Connect and the Traverse City Area Chamber of Commerce. Traverse Connect started the year as one newly focused organization, and my top priority for that first quarter was to launch a new website that reflected our brand and our strategic priorities. Our new site offers a cleaner and brighter look that highlights the Grand Traverse region as a business and talent destination. Shortly after the debut of our website, we launched the Scale Up North Awards to recognize businesses in the tech, trade, and creative industries. We had a tremendous response, and after pivoting to a virtual finals in May, the judges selected Tentcraft and Interactive Aerial as our 2020 winners. As we were preparing for the Scale Up North finals, which were originally slated for March, we sent out our last regular weekly bulletin email on March 11th. We included one article with guidance for businesses to prep their workplaces for COVID-19. 2 days later, we woke up to find that school buildings were closing and companies were preparing for the shift to remote work, as were we at Traverse Connect. We responded that morning with the first COVID-19 community update, and we've continued these updates through the month of June. Since the closures began, our team kept ourselves up to date with legislation, business support, and community health guidelines so that we could share it with you, our investors, and all businesses in the Northern Michigan region. We launched a new section of our website with this information, and it provided links to loan and grant programs, executive orders, and health guidance. We also launched free webinars, as we've previously discussed today, with regional businesses, beginning with the first Connecting the Dots webinar on April 1st. Since then, we've hosted more than 20 webinars with the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance and many investor companies, including Consumers Energy, Danbrook Adams Raymond PLC, Fifth Third Bank, Riemann, Safety Net, 20 Fathoms, Tentcraft, Traverse City Tourism, Traverse Reproduction, Traverse Area Association of Realtors, and Tryon Solutions. Next month, you'll see a shift to a new bulletin that will have a mix of business recovery resources and regional business updates. Looking forward, I'm very excited to give you the first glimpse at a new initiative and brand associated with Traverse Connect and our talent attraction and retention strategy. The Creative Coast is reimagining the Grand Traverse region's creative and cultural economy. Traverse Connect wants to build on our well-developed creative industry and arts sector by leading the charge to enhance the creative economy in the Grand Traverse region. We received funding from the Michigan Film and Digital Media Office's Creative Chambers Initiative to take the lead in enhancing the creative regional economy by attracting creative businesses to our region, highlighting existing creative culture in our community, and leading initiatives to retain and attract creative and cultural talent. The first initiative you may already noticed is the Creative Coast Scholarship Program for creative professionals to participate in Leadership Grand Traverse this fall. These scholarships will cover 90% of the participants' fees, and applications will be accepted until noon on July 10th. Next week, we'll be launching the Creative Coast podcast series. Each episode airs weekly and will feature stories from entrepreneurs working in the diverse array of creative sectors in the Grand Traverse region. And coming this fall, we will launch a new regional talent attraction and recruitment website, Michigan's Creative Coast. The launch of this site will be accompanied by a robust digital marketing campaign to attract professionals seeking a high-quality lifestyle with career opportunities. Also this fall, we'll publish a creative directory to support the creative professionals and businesses in our region by offering opportunities to expand their customer base and gain exposure to local businesses. On the events side, the annual Travers Connect Golf Outing will be held on August 12th at Crystal Mountain. Champion and partner level investors may register starting today, and registration will open to all other investors on Friday. Leadership Grand Travers will begin on August 21st and will continue through March. And the application, like I said, is open until noon on July 10th. Registration is also open for the second Bully Pulpit event planned for August 31st with special guest Chad Livengood from Cranes Detroit. There is limited availability for in-person attendance at this event due to social distancing limitations at the Flint Fields Horse Park. The program will be live streamed for all other registrants. We look forward to seeing you in person or online at these events this summer. Thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Warren.
Thank you, Catherine, and thanks to the entire team at Travers Connect and Venture North. This group of dedicated professionals have really stepped forward to support your companies amidst these challenging times. It's now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speakers. I'm very glad to have these two impressive industry experts not only with us today, but leading our local entrepreneurial efforts here in the Grand Traverse region. First, Lauren Bigelow. Dr. Lauren Bigelow is the Executive Director of 20 Fathoms. She's a senior executive and serial entrepreneur with more than 20 years of experience leading innovative companies and initiatives. She's assisted privately held startup technology, energy, clean tech, IT, and fintech companies from their inception through the growth stage of their businesses. Prior to 20 Fathoms, Lauren was the CEO of the Growth Capital Network, a Michigan-based firm that provides strategy, analytic, and impact evaluation services to the corporate, foundation, and nonprofit community. Before its 2009 acquisition by Bloomberg, Lauren was the North American Commercial Director for the New Energy Finance, the leading provider of data and research in clean energy markets. From 2004 to 2008, she was the Managing Director of the Clean Tech Group, where she oversaw the firm's technology and entrepreneur pipelines. Lauren created and ran Accelerate Michigan, the first $1 million innovation competition, taking it from a simple concept to over 6 years and $7.7 million of funding. Presenting companies have raised over $1 billion and created over 2,000 jobs. Her other projects include the program administration and curriculum for the Michigan Translational Research and Commercialization Program, and the co-creation and execution of the Michigan Green Tech Entrepreneur Academy, a program that teaches Midwest University and federal lab scientists to commercialize technology. Joining Lauren is Jack Miner, president of HealthSpark. HealthSpark is a healthcare technology-focused accelerator program recently launched at 20 Fathoms. His most recent position was at the Cleveland Clinic Ventures as managing director, where he spearheaded the development of a new corporate venture team for investing in CCF startup and external early-stage companies and managing these companies with appropriate governance and oversight. Jack deployed a robust investment process to co-invest in companies that were both strategic and financial opportunities. Jack is a leading-edge, results-driven global leader for venture-stage technology startup companies with a deep understanding and affinity for the venture capital industry. He successfully partnered with research and development, strategic investors, and finance colleagues to create and launch the strategy to optimize successful technology. He's focused on designing and implementing innovation development processes using the most current techniques and trends to attract investors, improve company valuations, and bottom line return to stakeholders. We are thrilled to have both Lauren and Jack with us today. Lauren, I'll turn it over to you. Lauren, it appears that you're on mute.
Sorry, everyone. We are just experiencing some technical difficulties. We will make sure Lauren is aware that she is muted here. Just give us one moment. All right, as we try to get her attention here, Jack, I might pull you up on screen if that's okay, so we can get a hold of Lauren and let her know that she is muted. Hi, Jack. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so as we get a hold of Lauren, if you would like to go ahead and start your presentation, and then we can have Lauren go right after you.
Great. So thank you very much for your time. And I want to clear up my screen here so I can see. I think one of the most important things is that, giving you an update on HealthSpark. There are probably many people on the call who know more about HealthSpark than I do. I've been involved for a couple months. To paraphrase Winston Churchill, there's nothing like a crisis to rethink the way you're doing things. And COVID-19 has given us that opportunity. There is probably nothing more important than our nation's health right now. Economic data is health data, and we see it reflected in the market every day. And there may be no more important thing than what's going on within rural health at the same time. And so I'm trying to share, Molly, my slides. I'm not sure if that's working or not.
I don't see them pulled up yet.
All right. Let me just, there we go. How about now?
Yes.
All right, great. So probably the most important thing is relative to just not really a reset per se of the HealthSpark mission, as much as it is looking at what we have going on in terms of an opportunity. And the opportunity we have right now is within telehealth. And, the challenges within rural health are pretty significant because of the way Medicare and Medicaid work. There's reimbursements are a significant challenge. These challenges have caused more than 120 rural hospitals to close within the last year. So I want to spend some time talking about that, talking a little bit more about, telehealth in general, where we can go as a region, and how HealthSpark can be supportive of that. As many of you know, healthcare is different. Healthcare itself is a very different market. There's no direct line between the patient and the provider and the payer. And as such, it's very challenging to compare one market to another. And looking at that from the perspective of how do you optimize that market, it's been very difficult. And so the interesting thing, though, about COVID-19, the upside, if you will, is that a lot of things had to change. Licensure has changed. You are now able to get healthcare provided over state lines. This was not possible before the beginning of 2020. So if I were looking to get some behavioral health, and it was 2:00 in the morning and I wanted to talk to a counselor, I was unable to talk with a counselor in Wisconsin if I'm in Michigan. CMS or Medicare and Medicaid have changed that as a result of COVID-19. Very importantly, and also importantly, a lot of the payers have agreed to reimburse for the work that they're doing as well. So any payer or any provider that is helping a patient will be reimbursed during this COVID-19 pandemic. Patients are happy with it. As you might expect, there's lots of stories of traveling hours for a 20-minute visit, and the opportunity for these patients to get this healthcare remotely or virtually is important. The doctors have also leveraged the modality. I think a lot of doctors were a bit resistant to using this telehealth platform, but we've gotten comfortable with it. And so it was real. It just had some significant challenges facing it prior to COVID-19. Rural healthcare at the same time has significant challenges, but there's an opportunity with that. And if you are a fan of Thomas Friedman's book, The World is Flat, as I am, there's an opportunity. Your world-class care is as close as your smart device. And so, trying to find a way to optimize that, to solve some of the challenges within rural healthcare are presenting themselves during this pandemic. There's also a big challenge that by the year 2030, we're going to have a shortage of over 120,000 providers. So doctors are not looking at primary care as an area where they want to spend time. And they are also looking at more acute delivery of care as opposed to primary. So there's a real challenge within rural healthcare. But again, the upside is that 80% of primary care can be delivered virtually. So some really important opportunity, both in that telehealth has become real and that the rural healthcare providers can take care of that. So how can that work, right? How can telehealth work? Well, imagine that we all work together as a community and that Best Buy's Geek Squad were able to provide you the same level of support for your telehealth technology as they do for a new telephone or a new TV. Imagine that we all work together in the area on the legal issues related to telehealth, the HIPAA requirements, the ability to have a secure platform. There's a real need on a legal and a policy level to ensure that we have these things in place. Whether it's information technology, cable, or power, excuse me, 30% in a recent study in Grand Traverse County, 30% of patients do not have broadband access. So a really important capability that needs to be deployed. Providers, all caregivers, nurses, PAs, physicians want to use telehealth. They're finding increased opportunity. And one of the things Warren talked about earlier in trying to find a way to create and deploy a remote workforce, this is indeed the opportunity for Grand Traverse County and for the region. Providing ways to finance these, there's a significant amount of support through USDA, Department of Commerce, FCC. A lot of people are getting behind these, and appropriately so. And really what the foundation of HealthSpark is, in my opinion, is that we build this infrastructure, that we find a way to create the highways, if you will, that you plug into to get your telehealth delivered. And the important aspect is that it does indeed take government, state agencies, and a community to do that. And all of us coming together to try to provide that. And just as a sneak peek maybe into where HealthSpark is going, we're looking at things like physician training for telehealth. Not everybody is comfortable using a telehealth platform to deliver services. So finding a way to create that comfort with the providers to ensure that they're delivering service the same way that they would in person in a virtual format. So working together with Northwestern Michigan College, Michigan State University, Grand Valley State, trying to find a way to create a simple program to train our physicians so that they're comfortable with that. Also looking at group purchasing organizations. We all know that there's significant leverage in doing massive purchasing. Well, what about around telehealth? The devices associated with that, whether it's the patient or the hospital system, providing those systems is really important. So finding a way to do that through a group purchasing organization is another thing that we're also looking at. We want to create a sandbox, if you will, with HealthSpark, where we can bring technology and the payers and the providers together with policy and the patients, so that we can look at technologies and find a way to advance those new and emerging technologies. So you see that when you look at healthcare, one of the biggest challenges we have is that it's not the care. We've got fantastic caregivers. It's the delivery system that needs to be fixed. So if you look at ride sharing, you look at travel, you look at a lot of the industries that are out there, they've all been optimized through digitization. We can do the same thing, and we've proven that we can do that through telehealth, appropriately so, in a safe manner, in a secure manner, in a way that physicians are comfortable with and patients are comfortable with. But we have a long way to go because of the fact that there are so many moving parts between supply chain and regulatory and reimbursement. We have to streamline that. So working together as a community, I feel that we can optimize this. And as I get ready to turn it back to Warren, I think that, you know, kind of going back to one of the things that he said earlier about, you know, looking at the systems that are in place and finding a way to recruit the remote workforce is absolutely the right thing to do. So thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. And Warren, thank you for the opportunity to speak to everyone. And
Great.
Lauren, if you can,
Here. Molly, can
Lauren,
you
if you can hear me, yeah, I think you're on. I think you're good now.
Fantastic. So you guys can all, I'm thrilled with that. Sorry, the irony of having a head of a tech incubator have tech issues is not lost on me. So thank you, Jack, for filling in there. And thanks, Warren, and to the team at Traverse Connect who worked so hard to put this event on. So what exactly is 20 Fathoms? I know a lot of people have seen us on the corner of Front and Park Street. And, you know, they don't really understand who we are or what we do. So a little bit of clarification for today. So our day-to-day reason for being is to work with tech-focused entrepreneurs, remote workers, and independent contractors, providing them with the resources that they need to succeed in their goals. But 20 Fathoms is actually a lot larger than that. So we're a community of innovators, creatives, makers, tinkerers, who find a home at 20 Fathoms because it's where like minds come to convene, and they each have their own way of pushing the envelope and developing what's next around technology and around innovation. So whether it's developing code in Perl or Java, doing shoreline reconnaissance by drone, or creating the next competitor to Uber, all ideas are welcome here. So you just need to grab a cup of coffee or tea, pull up a chair, collaborate, brainstorm, talk it out, and develop and build something new. So we're creating in Traverse City a center of gravity where interactions lead to opportunities, investments, and solutions. We're also a professional and tech-enabled workspace. So we try to be the picture of work-life integration on a healthy level. So we make use of heads down time and maximize productivity with fast internet, professional conference rooms, advanced webcasting technology, whiteboards, free-flowing coffee, lots of caffeine, and a community of supportive, creative professionals. So you know, the great part about our location is you can step out and be in nature and be walking along the bay in, you know, a 2-minute walk. We're also a place where ideas take root and thrive. So if you have a business idea, you've kind of planted the seed in the back of your mind. And so at 20 Fathoms, we'll share the resources to help grow your idea into something meaningful and actionable. Participants can attend our startup education sessions, refine ideas with the help of business coaches, connect with research universities, meet their funders, network with industry insiders, and connect with other serial entrepreneurs. So our programs are designed to help participants in their businesses to succeed. So You just met one member of my team who I'm truly excited to have on with us. We're led by kind of a team of grizzled veterans of entrepreneurship, innovation, and the tech worlds. Our head of tech acquisition, Eric Werman, comes with 20 plus years of recruitment experience from the West Coast. He's a born and bred Seattle gentleman who has relocated to Michigan. Carrie Amlott, our director of marketing, has 15 years of experience in small organizations and large healthcare systems. Our incoming community manager, Jill Norden, people will get to greet on July 6th. You've all met Jack. And then we have Keith Kelly, who's got decades of experience at NMC, teaching technology and innovation. Myself, as Warren said, I have decades of engagement around the investment community, entrepreneurship, and innovation. And so our collective experience, we've got working in tech, helping startups, creating hundreds of events and programs, and really creating a critical mass of folks who can connect the businesses in Traverse City to thousands of influencers and have deep knowledge of hundreds of resources locally, statewide, and regionally to assist companies and our entrepreneurs. But part of it is getting down to the why, like what's our team's mission? And really, we've convened to produce a significant positive impact here in the Grand Traverse region. And we're really looking to add to the resilience, as Warren and his team were talking about before, the resilience of our region by helping to create stable, well-paying jobs, expanding our tax base, fostering tech education in local schools, and providing those role models and mentors that students need, that small businesses need, and really that avenue for economic mobility for folks who are lower middle income in the Grand Traverse region. And so we're not only looking to move the needle for our members, we're looking to move it for their companies and the broader Grand Traverse region. So, I mean, why do this? I mean, innovative and creative communities are vibrant and they're fun. And candidly, we want to be in a place that we can enjoy our work and get out there, go hiking, have our festivals, raise our kids, and just have a really well-balanced life. And so our top 3 mandates that we have as a team is really to provide the resources to build the next generation of serial entrepreneurs. And so we want to take these company prospects, wrap around our services of education, mentorship, capital engagement, and talent recruitment to increase their odds of success. So we want to help with awareness and the linkages to capital. Financing small businesses is tough. Getting risk-tolerant local capital, access to grants. I think it was Catherine was talking about some of the access to the grants that are out there. And then readying our local businesses to scale. So we have one-on-one coaching and access to high-quality mentors. I mean, our mentors, when I came in, I could not be more proud. We've got an amazing pool of national class mentors that range from investment, strategy, operations, and long-term business coaching. So can help companies in their goals and objectives. Our ultimate goal at 20 Fathoms is really, with Jack and I, to create 2 rural centers of excellence in Traverse City, one around tech innovation and one around telehealth and digital health. One of the ways we've started doing this already is with TC Codes and TC Cyber. Over the last year, we cultivated a hub of software development talent and facilitated a real vibrant learning community that's going to help our employers, our developers, and they're open for newbies. We have a lot of introductory classes. We have community workshops introducing software development, support navigating pathways. So Eric and Keith, who lead TC Codes, have been working with our new software developers in terms of putting soft skills together around LinkedIn, resume writing, engaging, professionalism around follow-up after interviews. And then we've got advanced training for our intermediate and senior software developers. So all of these are hands-on, project-based, and we're really looking to grow this into a workforce development play where we can take some of the furloughed workers and upskill them into high-paying jobs. Now, one of the pieces around doubling down, the title of this keynote, was really around the new initiatives that 20 Fathoms has coming together. And some of them are really fueled by the I-6 grant, which is a Department of Commerce grant that was obtained by our prior executive director, Andy Cole. And so tech talent recruitment is one of the pillars of our new initiative. So really not only increasing talent for 20 Fathoms and our member teams, but recruiting talented entrepreneurs from all over the region and the coasts to relocate to Traverse City. So not only are we looking to bring people here, but we're looking to help employers within Traverse City. So if you've got somebody who is interested in becoming one of your employees, but they've got a tech-based spouse, we're more than happy to introduce them to the community, open up doors for them to other jobs and positions, or some remote work opportunities that we've got. And then Eric, with his 20 years of experience, is more than happy to share best practices in tech recruitment and HR processes. Carrie Ann Lott was brought in to really head up our marketing communications, creating a platform for 20 Fathoms, but also for our member companies to engage with customers, strategics, as well as angel and venture investors, and share our best practices around social media, content creation, and then marketing strategy. Getting out there as an early stage company, engaging with customers, those are all critical parts of business success. And then using our community engagement and our PR, our power to promote not only our mission, but our companies to a broader state and national audience. Another part of this grant is a thing called Startup Space. So in early July, we'll be launching the Northwest Michigan Business Resource Navigator. We've partnered with Commonplace to build a resource hub, principally for startup businesses and the community that surrounds them. So it'll be housing our events and a calendar, stories about our members, some anecdotal success, and then jobs and business resources. So we're looking for that to be a place where our community can convene, and you members of the larger business community can understand more of what we're doing. And it'll eventually house our mentor matching, but that's a little further in the fall. Jack and the Health Spark Initiative are part of this I-6 Commerce Grant, and he's already gone over that, so we're good. Another initiative that we're bringing to the fore is a location-based First Nations incubator, which is going to be housed within 20 Fathoms. So with Arrowhead Incubator, we're going to be sharing our best practices in nonprofit management and grant reporting, providing partner opportunities and grant assistance for them, and creating classes and events to engage youth and young adult tech learners, particularly from the reservations in the Grand Traverse, Little Traverse, and Little River Bands. Also, in our upcoming strategy, we're looking for K-12 student engagement. So we really want to offer the 20 Fathoms team and select members to access schools to speak to students about tech and career paths. So both K-12 is part of a lesson plan, but also, Girl or Boy Scouts, FFA, DECA, any of the arenas that you think might be useful to have an entrepreneur talk to a small group of students, 8 to 10, or even coming in and talking about their career experience as an entrepreneur, building businesses, the great stuff about being your own boss and the difficulties about being your own boss. And so I just want to close with a few things. Some observations on COVID from the startup world. I know that all of us have been really impacted over the last few months, and jokes about how many years it's been since we last met in March. But from the technology standpoint, we're seeing good things. Technology companies are resilient, and I would say about a third of them are actually doing better than they were before COVID. Somewhere their business model, the pandemic worked for them, whether it was pivoting to PPE or an educational platform for telecommuters. Those things bolstered their business. Other companies have been pretty stable, and then we've got those to an online ticketing platform that just aren't really going to work with today's challenges. For us, we see that private capital is on the sidelines. So angel investment, venture investment, it's slowing considerably. It's not like the recession where it was a really difficult haul, but credit is getting very tough. And so our advice to companies is really to stay lean and count every penny. Those government grants that are out there, access what you can while you can. I know that the window is closing on a number of those. But the one thing is, like with knowledge from the recession and the dot-com bust, companies that are able to get lean and weather the storm are really our future leaders and employers. So take heart that these hard times aren't going to last for a very long time, and that there are resources like Traverse Connect and Networks Northwest and 20 Fathoms out there to support you with our networks, with our connections, and with our resources. And so I'll leave you with some action items. If you're interested in 20 Fathoms, please connect with us on social media. Sign up for our weekly newsletter, our events, classes, resources, and interesting tech-focused articles. Come on by and take a tour of the space. After 4th of July, we'll be open for guests. So swing by. We've got higher grounds coffee or a workshop microbrew. And so book that time. Or if you're interested in engaging us around the K through 12 initiative, please feel free to introduce us to a teacher or a troop leader. We're really, really excited in bringing entrepreneurship and concepts around technology innovation to our entire community writ large, and having that be part of our contribution. So we'll also be bringing back our Beer 30 networking events later this summer, and we look forward to seeing you there. And my apologies for the tech challenges, but Warren, I'm going to hand it back over to you.
Thanks, Lauren, and thanks to both Jack and Lauren for that great presentation. We are so excited about what you're doing and the great quality of entrepreneurial efforts that you're bringing, and we greatly appreciate your partnership in many of these things. We are running pretty close to time for today, but we do have a question that's been submitted. I'm going to bring Kirsty Seeloff, our Director of Community Relations, on to address this question. While Kirsty's coming on here, I would ask anyone else that does have a question for my team or for Lauren and Jack to please submit that through the YouTube submission. Kirsty, we do have a question here that's related to government relations. The governor's order. Businesses should continue working from home if possible, but the Michigan Safe Start plan says most businesses with strict mitigation measures can work. Can you maybe help us clarify that?
Sure, that's a great question. So both of the executive orders both state that remote work that can be done remotely should continue in that fashion. And the person who asked this question is correct that the phase 5, it does say that most businesses are functioning. But phase 5 also says if distancing and other risk mitigation efforts aren't continued, that infections could begin to grow. And that's obviously a concern. So we know that the governor just recently said that she had wanted to move the entire state to state 5, but she's watching data for a spike. So in this case, I would recommend that we follow the executive order. The My Safe Start plan is a roadmap for reopening, but the executive orders are where the enforcement authority actually is. So continue following the executive order. And as always, Traverse Connect and the Northern Michigan Chamber Alliance will continue to advocate for our businesses to open in a safe manner.
Great. Thanks, Kirsty. And thanks to everyone that's been involved. We don't have any other questions right now, but please feel free to reach out to us if there's any issue that we've covered today you want more clarity on, or if there's just something on your mind or anything that we can do to help you and your business. Please know that we're here to support you, to support our partners like 20 Fathoms and HealthSpark, and you continue to drive this economy forward. Please stay safe so that we can stay open, and we appreciate everyone joining us today. Thanks and have a great day.